Hi team! I don't know about you, but this week is proving to me that linear time is wild, and I was just talking with my housemate and I realized I did not record this video, so I am here doing a video and we're making it happen. Okay, also I found this deck. This is the Fountain Tarot. My friend got this for me a couple of years ago. I love it. Maybe a year ago. Lost it. Bless you, Virgo season was cleaning and I found it. Sometimes I think things get lost or hide until they're ready to be used again. And in its absence, I bought another deck, the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot, which I really love. But it's nice to return to this one, and it feels like the deck to use this week. So I have shuffled, gonna shuffle one more time. Hope you all have had an amazing week. We're gonna do Thursday to Thursday because Tuesday just wasn't working out for me, I guess. Okay, I will put the dates in the description. Aries, Page of Swords reversed. What I like about this card, Aries, is that the person can see through the sword. So this week you're being asked to just double check your communications to make sure, even though you can see through something, you think something's being really clear, it might be still opaque to another person. So just double checking that what you're transmitting is being received in the correct way. There's also like this flurry of information that you're channeling, that you're receiving, and because it's a page, right, you have that novice energy, you're just still learning how to work with it. Maybe it's some new ideas and you're piecing them together, connecting the dots in new ways, which is exciting. And I feel like I unfairly, like the messages I always get for you are like, just be cautious in your communication. You know what you're doing. And I think this page energy is more that there's just like new information that's reaching its ways to you. And just to allow yourself to bounce back and forth, and through that process, you're going to gain a lot more insight. And when you're ready, you can share it. And yeah, I just want you, Aries, to know that I appreciate you and all that you have to offer. Have a lovely week. Taurus, Eight of Coins reverse. So he's putting in this final piece to this cube. It kind of feels like he's doing some kind of like, what's that word where you, telepathy? Is that the right word, where you can move stuff with your mind? Telekinesis. Also a band. It feels like you're doing some kind of like telekinetic exercise here. The Eight of Coins or Pentacles in some other decks is about apprenticeship, mastership, moving through the development of a skill to get to this point where you're like, wow, I'm really doing it. I'm putting in this final piece. You don't give yourself enough credit. This week, you're really being encouraged to just like let yourself be amazed at all of the things that you do. Truly, you are making some really magical things happen, and just give yourself a pat on the back. Not only is this work transformational for you, and it has been throughout this process, it's also really impacting other people and opening up new ways of seeing and doing for other people. So you're allowed to feel fucking good about that. Please indulge in whatever makes you feel most loved and appreciated. Have a lovely week. All right, Gemini, Seven of Swords. I feel like this one keeps coming up for you. What's interesting about this depiction is this reaching in. Like, these are sharp, dude. Like, what are you doing? Just going for it, you know? But in this card, in this guidebook, they talk about like calculated risk, you know? And this person is willing to go for it, to do that big, bold power move because they think that the reward is greater than the risk, right? Gemini, this week, put yourself out there. You know, if you've done the pros and cons, you know, list, or even if you haven't, even if you just like feel it in your gut, like put yourself out there. Really go for it and do the thing. Trust yourself and your ability to communicate and your knowledge of the situation and your knowledge of yourself. Just a lot more self-trust happening here. And you are not putting all your eggs in one basket. You're still leaving some behind. So you are creating this flexibility for yourself. You're not cutting yourself off from future options. You are not, like, the universe is not built to, like, reward you for certain decisions or certain risks, you know. There's not, like, a value-based system where you get punished for trying something new. You know, maybe that's the trauma of your childhood that you're processing. It certainly is shared trauma, and that's valid and that's real. And you are trying to show up for yourself in new ways so that you can address that idea more broadly. Amazing work. Where are we? Gemini, Cancer. Judgment. Dude, I feel like this one keeps coming up too. Huge awakenings for people. I like the veil here and how that's super present, and this idea of like trying to make contact with what is beyond the veil, right? We're entering into spooky season. And that means that thinking about the veil getting thinner and how can we communicate, you know, with other realms. Something that's been coming up for me a lot, and maybe with you too, is doing this ancestral work, ancestral healing. Definitely feeling an encouragement to continue to do that work, Cancer, and just go heavy into like the ritual, the esoteric stuff, whatever mystical shit is like really stoking your fire, like go for it. And you're gonna find the things that work for you, that increase your awareness and heighten your sensitivity, because you are already very intuitive. You're just heightening your sensitivity to certain things, and not all tools are going to work for you. So just do some exploration, feeling a lot of like research, do some reading, listen to people, interviews or YouTube videos or something where people are talking about their own experiences, so you can see of like, oh yeah, I do want to try Reiki or whatever the thing is. Great. Leo. Temperance. I really like this card. Oh, I missed this deck. So what I see here is just this willingness to come to the water. You know, it does seem like this figure has traversed a really long way to reach the water. You are traveling backwards in your memory and in your experience to try to bring forward parts of you that were left behind. You're going through some maybe traumatic stuff, entering into territory that hasn't always felt safe, like mentally, I'm thinking more so, but maybe also physically, if that resonates with you. Entering into these spaces, and pulling parts of yourself, like bringing them back to this present, bringing awareness to the present. Maybe this is doing inner child work for you, but this to me feels like more recent past. I am getting some strong imagery around breakups or processing, like relationships ending, or like verbal abuse. You've really spent your season stepping into your own power, and so you are now taking time to go back and bring forward those parts of yourself that that got left behind in some way. So really big work, obviously, Major Arcana. Super, super proud of you for engaging with this. I know it's not the most fun stuff, but you're doing so good, and you have a huge ally in this. Remember, balance, set boundaries, bring in, your therapist if you have access to that resource, a trusted friend, check in about disclosing all of those things. But definitely creating a container around sharing so that you're not doing this work all the time, because you don't want to be inundated with it to the point that you feel trapped, okay? Virgo. The Lovers reversed. Wow, lots of majors. I was just on Instagram before I filmed this video, and I was looking at, I want to say it was like spicy astrology memes or something. If I can find it, I will link it. Astro Wonder? I don't know. Anyways, some meme account that was looking at why you're single, and the Virgo one, my Venus is in Virgo, which is why I was looking at the Virgo one, was saying, like, bringing up exes on the first date, always prioritizing work, which felt like a call out, and there was like 6 things mentioned. Anyways, if I can link it, I will. But the reason I bring this up, yes, the Lovers card is not always about actual lovers, right? It is about integrating parts of ourselves. I could film a whole video, maybe I will, about the Lovers and what it means. But for you, Virgo, you're really wondering about the work in relationship, and how relationships are mirrors. We could very easily just put a mirror here and be like, oh, that figure is reflected, and sometimes the people we are in relationship with, romantic or not, show us parts of ourselves that maybe we haven't had the right angle to see, we haven't had the right moment to process. And so I would caution you against turning your analytical eye towards yourself so hard to the point that you become exhausted. This is long, long work. Integration doesn't happen overnight. And what I mean by integration is, actually kind of what I was just talking about with Leo. So maybe watch Leo's as well. But acknowledging parts of yourself and bringing them forward, and really loving and accepting them where they're at. This is definitely a long-term process for you, Virgo. I'm also really drawn to this like pyramid shape here. I was watching something, and I don't know the validity of it, but the metaphor that I'm going to pull out of it is, they were saying that things placed underneath a pyramid, like plants, grow faster. And so this idea of like pyramids amplifying power, again, not sure about the validity of that, but for this metaphor, what we're placing beneath it, right, which are these 2 figures, they are increasing in their power, and that's personal power. So thinking about how you can be in relationship and not give over your power, right? It's not about losing your sense of power, even if you're in, a kind of relationship in which you're submitting, right? The submission is also power. So thinking about how you can be in relationship without losing yourself, this really feels like long-term work. As always, if you're interested in doing a personal reading with me, you can reach out to me. I'll put my email in the box below, but it's emmytarot@gmail.com, or you can find me on Instagram at emmytarot. If you want to dive more into what this means for you and kind of develop, some tools around how to address this point. Oh, I always get lost. Where are we? Libra. Strength. Holy moly. I shuffled. You saw. Okay. I really feel like we've been getting a lot of the same ones recently. It just means that the work is like taking a lot to process, and that's totally chill. There's a kind of blending together of these two forms. And it seems like for you, Libra, you already do so much work about recognizing the wildness within you. And this is just about really owning it. And it's not about, wow, okay. Very strongly hearing it's not about you recognizing that in the past you were wild. It's about saying, no, this is happening right now. This is now. There is no separation. You are, even though your outside has changed and your inside is changing, like you're growing and you're progressing and all of those things. But don't use that growth as an excuse to like leave behind your past self. Feeling a lot of like feisty energy coming through with this card. And it's not like pissed off. This isn't like pissed off that you're doing something wrong. It's like, no, I just want you to hear me. Like your past self. So Libra this week, really it just looks like you are moving forward, moving forward in an internal way and not being so focused on what's happening externally. And that's okay. Like, you're going to cover your bases with your like day-to-day shit, but doing the soul work is going to feel really rewarding to you. And it might not yield an external result, but don't be dismayed by that. Scorpio, Ace of Cups. Love that little bird bath. This is kind of nice actually, because I feel like you are these little doves and you're like around water, but you get water in small doses, right? You're not doing this deep dive, and you're not doing it alone either. You're kind of getting a chance to fill up your well, to really feel the love of your community and the support of your community. That's probably because you're asking for help more, which is good. And I know I had shared previously, maybe a couple weeks ago, that I felt like you were gearing up towards something. So this might still be that fueling yourself and really starting to fill up your well. Really make sure you are doing that. You're just entering into, with this season, as we get closer to Scorpio season, right? Of course, the season's all about you, celebrate you, yes, and you might feel, depending on, what planets are aspecting your natal sun, like some intensity there. So just take this time, really develop these relationships. It doesn't feel usury, like you're using someone, being like, I'm gonna develop a relationship, so, if in the future I need support. We all do this. This is what interdependence looks like. This is fine, as long as you're expressing your boundaries, checking in before disclosing, all of those kinds of things. But you've had a lot of intensity in your life, and just let this be a week of lightness and sweetness, where you get to, like, take little sips without having to go all the way down. You know what I mean? Amazing. Have a lovely week. Sagittarius. Yay! The Fountain. So this is a card unique to this deck, the Fountain Tarot, its namesake. It's a major arcana, and it can go at the beginning or at the end, right? It's just sort of showing us that the majors are a loop. Sagittarius, this card is like the feeling of being connected to everything, like really feeling this dissolving of, I don't think I like that. I was going to say the dissolving of self, and because it's not about losing your individual, like, perspective or anything towards the collective in a kind of, like, loss way, but it is about recognizing the similarities that we share with people, how we can support one another, and dissolving the, what is that? Like dissolving the barriers that aren't useful to us. And I'm trying to get more clarity around what I'm hearing. It's not about spiritual bypassing. It's about recognizing the state of things, and also being pro-paradox, like looking at the ways that we can start to do the work in a more integrated way. Sagittarius, your shit is esoteric this week. This feels like deep soul work that you're doing. Maybe it's just seeing yourself in people that aren't like you or you weren't expecting, like having conversations with people who have very different views from you, and still walking away with a piece, even if you still greatly disagree, like a piece of being like, oh, there was common ground there, right? It's just about seeing the common ground, which allows you to make more grounded change, because it's important to not operate in a vacuum, only talking to people that see the same way that we do. This might get political for you this week, which is awesome. Lean into that. And, if that's not your cup of tea, still challenge you to lean in a little bit. And if you really don't have the capacity to handle it, that's okay. There will be other ways that you get to work with this energy. Great. Capricorn. 10 of Cups. Yes! Yes! Great. You are reaching, it feels like the first milestone of kind of a lot. Like, this is not the only pyramid in your life. Not the only, like, staircase that you have to ascend. Don't be in a place where you invalidate your joy. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Like, yes, there's more things to come. And that doesn't mean that this moment right here, right now, isn't special and important. There's no such thing as, like, earning your joy. You are allowed to experience joy whenever it comes up for you. And you've worked really hard. And so, yeah, if you're getting, a paperback with great feedback, relish in that. Fuck yeah. Do you still have a lot more papers to write? Absolutely. Is it someone, like, complimenting, it feels around work that you're doing, like complimenting, like a dinner you made, or something that you are just starting out, trying, and you're like, wow, I have so far to go. It's like, yes, and right now, in this moment, it's also valid. So just recognizing the work that you've put in and recognizing that you still have farther to go, and that those two things don't invalidate each other. Aquarius, 6 of Cups. I kind of like this tunnel vision here. I recently got my tea leaves read, and which was totally amazing. And it kind of seems like that's what they're doing here. So if you have opportunity to do that, highly recommend. 6 of Cups is about looking backward, and I just want to highlight the kind of distortion that we have when we look backward. And that's not distortion doesn't necessarily mean good or bad. It just means that things aren't quite the same as when we experience them, which makes sense because memory is elastic. You're going to have some things from your past coming up that you're processing, and you might have a lot of symbols and synchronicities that bring these things to mind. If you're feeling triggered, please take care of yourself. You don't have to process them if you're not in a place where you can handle that. If you do have access to resources like a therapist, please utilize them. If you don't, there are, free resources, helplines and such that you can call. Always take care of yourself. I care about you so much. It doesn't, I say that all as a cautionary thing, but this energy feels very sweet to me. It feels mostly like you're bringing up memories that you don't quite understand, that you're like, wow, yeah, what did happen in that circumstance? I'm not sure. You're bringing them up to process them and to clear them and to move forward with them. And it does feel like it's around dynamics of your childhood or old relationships that you've had. So you're kind of in this like dreamy processing space this week. And this doesn't have to happen all the time. You don't have to live totally in this energy, right? You're a full person. You have other aspects of your chart. Free will, of course, always. So this doesn't have to be all the time, but you might just feel this as an influence. And people might feel it to different degrees differently. But this doesn't feel, malignant or anything. It just feels like, cool, some old stuff is coming up and I'm going to be curious about it. So approach it with curiosity as you're able. Pisces. The Hermit. I really love this one. Sometimes when we're in a state of processing and of being alone, when we come out of it with what we think is like the thing, the light, right? It doesn't solve all of our problems. It just illuminates the way. So this person's flashlight is just showing, wow, there is a crap ton of trees. Cool. And maybe I'm not going to go through that. Maybe I'm just going to look at it. Maybe I'm going to wait until it's daylight, when it's easier to see and to move around. So you're moving from a place of kind of internal reflection, and you're starting to get ready to invite other people into your process with you, starting to make other people aware of these things that you found out about yourself, some things that you want to do moving forward. It kind of feels like spring, even though we're going into fall. This kind of feels like some kind of spring awakening. That's a musical, I think. Like a spring awareness of like things are unfolding, new things are sprouting, coming out of hibernation. And you are not expected to have all of the answers. And sometimes we come out of a period of reflection with just having more questions to process and to look at, and that can feel overwhelming. So just give yourself some love and say, I have a whole lifetime to process all of these, and you're allowed to be a question without an answer. That's beautiful. So much art has been made around those things, and your life. This is cheesy, but your life is a work of art. This does feel like tapping into kind of artistic practices, and really doing that. So, lots of processing. You're coming out of it. You're getting ready to start showing yourself. All right. And then a card for the collective. 3 of Coins reverse. So we're putting the pieces together this week. This is just a friendly reminder that you don't have to take it all on. Please delegate, invite other people into your process, if it feels safe to do so. And You don't have to turn over things that are like really precious to you, but you know, if you need legal help, ask a lawyer. That kind of thing. Like if you need expertise in a particular way, try to find someone with that expertise, and trust your own authority too of the things that you feel comfortable with. This just feels like things are coming together finally. And it's like, oh, yes, okay. So you're starting to get the things that you need, bringing the people and the resources together to start building the things that you really want to do. And it's all happening, and it's happening in the right time, and I'm so happy for us that it's coming together. All right, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. That would really mean a lot to me. Okay, I will talk to you next week. Bye.